another episode of the Big Podcast, episode 171 to be exact. Now, I know with the titling and subject matter of this video, it probably behooved me to introduce myself because there may be some new people watching this. I am him, he, Mike, if you want to call me my regular name, and I am one of the hosts of the Big Podcast. And the reason that I want to give you a little introduction is I want to just give you my perspective on things. So, the big podcast is BIG, the acronym in the podcast stands for Black is Gold. The reason why I named it the Black is Gold podcast is because there's a play on words in terms of me being or growing up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh Steelers, black and gold. And it's also a play off a once public song by Wale called Black is Gold that I didn't even know was like a sample of an older song. But basically, my perspective is coming out the mud and, making the best of what you have. And that's kind of my life story, really. But we want to really get into this subject because it's a hot topic and I'm trying to be more palatable on the internet. I'm trying not to have people think that I think myself higher than other people, but this is just a topic that I had to touch on because I have a lot to say about it. So I'm going to be doing a live stream basically reacting to a tweet to a bigger subject matter, and I'm going to be getting into a couple of tweets. I got some notes, but bear with me. So, there is a top podcaster in the business podcasting space that ruffled some feathers on X, Twitter, and he does this a lot, quite often. His name is Xavier Miller. It's at Xavier C. Miller on Twitter /X. And the post basically read as it was on June the 22nd, and he said it's a big difference between being black and being an NIGGA. I love black people. I despise Negroes. We're going to say Negroes. And no, I will not elaborate further. Now, of course, X being the place that it is, that got a lot of backlash from black Twitter. And one of the top responses to it was from at Majesty Rhea, who I follow as well. And she basically said, I don't trust these types of black people. You can't bring black people who have that mentality around black communities because they are subconsciously judging everything around them. They feel better than their surroundings when they're around black people. They're only motivated by money and don't have a genuine love for black people. So that is a normal response to somebody speaking on a subject of this matter. And me being a cornball, quote unquote, me being someone who does not live in the hood, and I want to give y'all some reasons why I don't live in the hood. And I'm going to give you my personal perspective. We have some talking points to get on to. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to the live. So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've lived here the majority of my life, but I wouldn't consider myself being like a Pittsburghese person because I'm a natural Floridian. But for the majority of my upbringing, from 6 to 17, I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I can tell you the reason that I do not live in the hood is because, number one, I don't have any family that lives up here besides my dad and my family, meaning like my daughter and her mother. And number two, Pittsburgh is a city that is not too progressive. They're getting there. They're definitely getting their act together. But we have a lot of self-hate here. We have a depressed community as far as the black community goes. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of quick tempers here. It's just a lot of stuff that it just makes it hard to coexist amongst other black people here because there's not much of a black middle class and there is a lot of hatred. So With the area that I live in, it's safer here. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm over here all friends and lovey-dovey with the majority of people that live in this area, which are white people, because I ain't gonna lie to you, they don't like black people. I'm gonna keep it straight 100 with you. They do not like black people for the most part. My daughter, she's getting more outgoing. My girl was telling me about how they was at the park and she was saying hi to people and nobody was saying hi back. Like it's kind of messed up. But one thing I do know, compared to if I lived in the hood, which would be really the only quote unquote black community there is in this city, is that people will look at me like I think that I'm my S don't stink, because I'm not looking to do crime. I'm not looking to put down the next man. And I'll be honest with you, I don't want to raise my daughter in a way that most people raise their kids, because I think we should do better. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to talk about my black card before I get into my points, you want to talk about just what's up, Raju Singh? You know what I'm saying? Um, I am considered a cornball. When I grew up, when I moved here I moved here when I was 6 years old, and we lived in Wilkinsburg, which most parts of Wilkinsburg is considered the hood, but where we lived at the time was not the hood. But now you might want to watch your back if you in those areas, because it's just, I think more people have moved out to that area because it's a little bit less in regards to like rent and things of that nature. But I'll just give you a little bit of background on me so you can kind of understand my perspective. Long story short, my dad married my mom, got with my mom so he could have a child. He wasn't trying to have a relationship, he wanted a child. And he is also homosexual. So once she was pregnant, I don't know how, I want to say 8 months, he kind of broke it to her that that's what his deal was. And they stayed together for a little bit, but after a while they broke up because obviously he didn't really want the relationship. So with that being said, we have a lot of resentment. Obviously my father, his intentions may not be the most inclusive in terms of thinking about everyone for self a lot, and that's caused strains in the relationship, because I believe that there's just a lot of stuff that he may not like about himself, or he may not like about his lifestyle, or just his being. And growing up, because I lived with my dad the majority of my adolescent and upcoming years from 6 to 17, then I moved back to Florida and was on my own around like 18, because my mom left the state and I was just left to fend for myself. But growing up like that, growing up with, as an only child, but having brothers and a sister and not really knowing them, and kind of being, in my perspective, treated kind of like the outside kid, and just going through like mental abuse with my dad, emotional abuse, physical abuse. I told myself that I was never going to inflict the problems or the trauma that I had growing up onto my daughter. And what I've seen in the black community, especially with the rise of social media, is that we would rather glorify the struggle and glorify some things that are not the best for us. We would rather gaslight people trying to make a change and trying to do things different, calling out certain things that shouldn't be acceptable for a community, than actually fixing these things. So I do think there's a difference between black people and Negroes, and we're going to get into the notes. I can't really read the comments. I see people coming in and out, but I'm not. I gotta focus on my notes. So, what are the fundamental differences between Negroes and black people in my experience? Mindset. Mindset being a black person's mindset is one of someone that is trying to excel in spite of their upbringing. They want to be better than their parents were. They don't want to use the disadvantages that they've had as an excuse to why they can't be up to par as an upstanding citizen or a parent. A Negro, in my opinion, is a person that has an I can't do anything mindset. And what is that? Now, if you've seen my live streams before, there are going to be some things that I repeat that you may have heard in previous streams, but I think this subject matter, it calls for it. So an I can't do anything mindset is the mindset that you've been so disadvantaged, you've not been given so many things that you think you should have or you should have been given as a child, that you not excelling in life is basically not your fault. It's basically out of your hands. Quote, I can't do anything. And that's the mindset that a lot of people give off on the internet. The mindset, when I looked at the tweet talking about when someone, they try to make the distinction, and I'm just gonna say the word, of a nigga and a black person. A nigga will respond by saying, oh, you think you're better than everybody. Oh, you don't like black people. And I just don't understand where holding someone accountable or pushing for change in some sort can equal not liking someone, having self-hate. This is that I can't do anything flipping method that we have in the community. And what I came to realize is that most people, you'll think that, oh, somebody that speaks proper, somebody that went to school, they come from a 2-parent household, these are the black people that you're talking about. And someone that's from the hood and somebody that came from a 1-parent household is just automatically a nigga. That is not true. There are niggas who work in corporate. There are niggas who work in politics. There are also black people who work in corporate, work in politics. There's niggas that are in the streets and black people that are in the streets. I'm going to tell you, though, about 70% of people that's probably in the streets now, they niggas. And you know why? That's what kind of, in my opinion, that's what kind of created this divide, was people being in the struggle and resorting to things that may not be abiding by the laws of the land because they felt that they needed to. And what hurt us, and this is just my perspective, I was not alive when these things happened. What hurt us is that there were so many people that saw that maybe the salesman, the dealer of some sorts was the person to look at because that's the only example of success that a lot of people seen at a certain time. And the thing is that the dealer, his come up was off the backs of the community. The backs of the community, meaning the more successful the dealer got, the worser the community got. So a lot of us are born in a situation to where right is wrong and wrong is right. And now we've gotten to a point where the lines are so blurred because we'd rather coddle people's feelings and favor how you make someone feel than speak about what's going to give change, what's going to make the community better, what is actually going to get us to a point where we can stop making excuses. One quality with this I can't do anything mindset that Negroes have is self-hate. And a lot of our parents, we realize, and I realize this myself, they don't like themselves and they project that anger, angst, and shame onto their offspring, either knowingly or unknowingly. So when you're because in my opinion, I heard a content creator say this. Don't act like I don't want to act like I came up with this myself. A lot of people like to harken back to slavery, and harken back to that being the straw that broke the camel's back, and that being the shoulder that we need to lean on. And we got Juneteenth, and I'm thankful that it's a federal holiday, so I had that day off, got a little bit more time to spend with the family, get stuff done. But I don't really understand why we worry about slavery. I would say look back, we can go back to the 70s and 80s, and we can backtrack just to that point to see where we're at right now. We have generations, or had generations, of fatherless households, to the point that we have a lot of men coming up and just they're being raised by women, and at times being raised by men that were raised by women, so they don't necessarily have the full scope of masculinity. So now we have a community of people that engage in groupthink. They engage in emotional based logic, which is not logic at all. So we get to a point where a person that's speaking like me, you're automatically going to shut down, because this is something that's going to challenge your whole being. It's going to challenge the whole way that you was brought up, and for some people that's too much. So let me stick to my notes, and let's get to my perspective in basically where I'm coming from. And I think I touched on this a little bit, but I want to read this. The glorification and profitability of the street life to get out of the struggle stripped a lot of us of our consideration for those that look like us, because we saw a select few climb to the top off of the backs of the many, so we believe that's the only way. A lot of people out here lack consideration for their fellow man. A lot of people out here don't even respect the fact of, hey, me, for example, bro. I've been working regular jobs ever since I moved back up in Pittsburgh. And for a lot of people, if you talk to them about, the job market for the past 20 years in Pittsburgh, they might tell you that there's not a lot of opportunities out there for black people. There ain't no jobs out there. And I don't want to fully just not take that perspective into consideration. One being that I've experienced the workplace and how certain people will look at you as if you're not supposed to be there. They'll try to take you off your pivot by playing certain games with you. And with that being said, you can't just sit here and say, hey, that's not true. Hey, you just lazy, because if it was the case, people would treat you like a human being, not 100% of the time, but the majority of the time, because your presence is regular. Your presence is not something that is new. Me, myself, I have always been the person that I'm going to do what I need to do legally, because, the little times that I did get messed up with the law, I ain't like that. I ain't like having to pay the government every month. I didn't like not being able to get certain jobs because certain charges were pending. Blessed be the name of the Lord that I was given pre-trial intervention. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I've done so well, as far as, I'm not done by any means, but as far as working good jobs and kind of building myself up and kind of working better positions every new job I get, I can't even talk to you about things that I got expunged off my record. It would hurt me. It would hurt me, because certain people, they'll put a stain on you, but that junk is expunged and it was in another state, so it is what it is. But really, when I moved up here, man, I was 6 years old, and I was always me. I was always quirky, opinionated. I never really listened to adults, because, and we'll get into that, but I don't want to get into it now. But I used to get made fun of. And when I used to get made fun of, I remember one instance of a couple of guys. This is when I lived in Wilkinsburg and went to Turner Elementary. There were a couple of guys standing. We were actually sitting down. I was in the second grade, and they were like making fun of me, and it was going through my head like, you need to defend yourself, because my dad was telling me, defend yourself. Don't just let people walk all over you. So they making fun of me. One's laughing, the other two, they're kind of joking on me. And I don't know what came over me, but I fired on one of them. I slapped him. And he was the toughest one. But I slapped him. And then, he was trying to, we kind of started, going back and forth, kind of tussling, kind of throwing punches. And there was the other dude, he was hitting me like this. And I'm not going to lie to you, I have to keep it 100. I did not lose that altercation. You know why I know I didn't lose the altercation? Because the guy that was fighting like this, I seen him years later, and he was trying to be aggressive with me. Why? Because that time we got into it, it wasn't like I got jumped. It wasn't like I, was the loser in it. You know what I'm saying? It was like 2 against 1, but still. So from that point, I seen, like, I know I'm not a tough guy. And like, I definitely got in fights. You can't grow up in Pittsburgh and not get in at least one fight, because there's going to be someone that tries you. There's going to be someone that, they're channeling whatever they're going through at home, and they're going to put it on to you. So I got in fights, but I remember when I got in, like, I think I got in a couple tussles, but I had gotten into like a fight to where we got suspended, and I was put on punishment. And I'm just thinking in my head, you're sitting here telling me to defend myself. I did not start this fight. This person had been egging me on all week. And I've actually told the story of the fight, so I don't want to tell that. And I defended myself because the person punched me square in the face. And you're telling me I got to be on punishment? I can't even enjoy my off days from being suspended because I defended myself like you told me to? I'm not doing that again. Now, I'm not going to sit here. I had gotten punked before, but the next instance was when I got into the fight. And at that point, I'm just thinking in my head, like, bro, when you get into a fight, when you fight people, especially here, most of the time that's not the end of it. Now, we're in elementary school, so I'm not saying we're just going to go to gunplay or nothing, but the person's probably going to want to fight you again. When I got into a fight, I actually fought that person 2 times that day. And you know why we fought 2 times? We fought on the recess field, and we fought on the way to lunch, because I was doing anything to him. I had his shirt pulled over his head, doing anything to him, and he couldn't take that. So he wanted to keep going, even when in front of the teachers, and that's how we got caught. So at that point, I'm thinking in my head, bro, this is a lose-lose situation. I'm gonna get in trouble at home. You're gonna want to keep fighting me. I'm not about to be fighting people that's not gonna hit me first. Cause that's what I used to get in situations like that, where it's like, oh, hit me. And I'm like, but you want to fight me? Why would I hit you? And now you calling me a bitch because you are pushing me. I'm pushing you back, but you don't want to throw a punch because you don't want to get suspended. You're not about to finesse me into being the aggressor. So I just, like, bruh, it was to the point where, like, if you're not about to hit me, if I'm not in fear, we're not fighting, because I don't want to fight you. Not that I'm scared of you, but it's just stupid. So I used to get made fun of, particularly when I moved to Morningside, which was in the 5th grade. And the reason I used to get made fun of was because I spoke like I read. You know what I'm saying? When I moved to Pittsburgh, I didn't know how to, like, I didn't know how to read. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was you know what I'm saying? Like a real, line by line reader, because the school system in Florida, I don't know if it's this bad still, but it was not crap in 2000, 2001, 2002. And I ain't gonna lie to you, my mom wasn't, you know what I'm saying? She had 5 kids, you know what I mean? Well, really 4, because my older brother, he ain't live with us. So I had locks. I had locks and I had blonde tips on the locks in 5th grade. And of course, you'll see a lot of guys with that now, and it's kind of normalized. But at the time in 2002, I think, it wasn't normal. So people used to make fun of me. I ain't gonna lie to you, my nose and my upper lip was probably the same size when I was younger. So obviously, my face had not grown into my facial features. So people used to make fun of me for that. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't care. I didn't really care because I had been kind of joked on before, and I had learned how to joke on people to the point where I used to I used to kind of get myself in trouble for responding to people because once you start joking back on people who are quote unquote bullying you, you realize that, oh, this is a coping mechanism for you. You believe that because I am different, quote unquote, I'm not the norm. I don't want to act like everybody else. That you making fun of me is going to make you feel good because I'm going to feel bad about myself. Well, I had gotten to the point where I didn't care. And I used to tell people, I remember I used to say this to a lot of guys. I don't think I've ever gotten a response when people would make fun of me and talk about my clothes and stuff. I would be like, bro, why do I have to care what you think? Why do I have to be like you? Why is it that it's a problem that I'm myself and I'm who I am, bro? I wasn't rich, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't, again, we at a point we didn't live in a quote unquote black community, but the way that people used to make fun of me about, oh, you're not wearing name brand and this, I used to think that their parents had money because it's like, oh, you got all the new shoes, you get new shoes every time they come out. I'm thinking y'all got money, and I'm honestly thinking, bro, it's like as a child, I'm like, dang, you must be some black people that make money in here because y'all all got all the clothes, and my dad ain't with none of that. He ain't on the update and all. You know, you get a new pair of shoes every season and all that. We didn't have it like that. Mind you, that's not the case. It was just a proponent of self-hate and a groupthink mentality, thinking that everybody needs to be on what the media and what trends tell us that is hot. When, I mean, who cares about that? Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? So it got to a certain point that people really didn't make fun of me because I would joke back, and it didn't affect me. Now, I remember back in 5th grade, I remember this girl, she was making fun of me from the day that I came to the school. My name's Michael, but the way that I talked, I guess at the time, she thought that my name was Malcolm the first day, so they was just calling me Malcolm. And this one particular day, she was just up my A the whole day, just like making fun of me, saying, oh, your clothes is this, that, and the third. And she wasn't hurting my feelings, but it's like she was like literally sitting next to me at the lunch table, and I'm like, like she's annoying, bro. I'm starting to think you are the weird one because you're just picking at me, picking at me, picking at me. And some people are gonna say, oh, she liked you. Who cares? Whatever. So I told her, I said, you've been joking on me all day, and I'm not gonna lie. I can say one joke that'll end it all for you because I just knew what time it was because I understood the perspective of quote unquote bullies and these people that wanted to make you feel like you're not cool for trying to be like everybody, or because you're not like everybody, or you're not quote unquote tough, and you're not, a feminine male masquerading as masculine, using violence as the mile marker for masculinity. So I basically told her, and I hope y'all don't hear my daughter, yelling, I'm sure my girl is trying to put her back down for a nap because she's being bad, but or she's not sleeping, but yeah, I was basically like, your hair is ugly. Like, it's really ugly. I don't know why you have it in that hairstyle. I don't know who told you that looked good. It don't. And she started bawling, crying. Long story short, her cousin pressed me, telling me to leave her alone. And I'm thinking in my head, leave her alone. She bothering me. And it's, oh wow, you Negroes have a mentality that think that you can do whatever you want to people, and if someone has a response, then that's the issue. That's gonna be the issue. It's not that you've been harassing me all day. It's that I responded and said something that hurt your feelings. So if you hurt my feelings, that's cool. That's when I got to the point like, oh, okay. So some people, they just have a different mindset than me. They kind of think that they can do whatever they want. That is one difference between black folks and Negroes. Black folks know that there's rules. They may even know that the rules are different from them in other races. But one thing they don't put in their brain is that just because the rules are different does not mean we can just do whatever we want and treat people however we want based on the things that we don't have, based on the disadvantages that are put up against us. Negroes, they make it their whole personality. They have morphed into an the word is at the tip of my tongue, but I can't get it. You can't stand these Negroes. You can't be regular. It can't just be chill around Negroes because they have this I can't do anything mindset. The mindset that their whole life is a freaking horror film. So anything that I do, any wrong that I inflict on people, it's really okay because the white man has me so oppressed that I can't do anything. So this is why I act out. And this is why I just do whatever I want. I never thought that I would quote Umar Johnson, but I'm quoting Umar Johnson. Negroes love to major in the minors. Oh, look how you're dressed. You look crazy. Oh, as I was a young child, your voice isn't deep enough. There's something wrong with you because your voice isn't deep enough at 10, 11 years old. Aunts and uncles, I remember like people would like really just harp on this point like I had something to do with the bass of my voice. Like, you have a soft voice and it's this and that. And what I would see is that you want me to have the appearance of being a tough guy, being a masculine male, a quote unquote masculine male, by having a deep voice, by caring what other men think, and by presenting as if I'm strong, presenting as if I'm cool. Yet, those are not the mile markers of masculinity. The deepness of your voice doesn't show how strong and resilient you are. It does not prove whether or not you can take care of your family or whether or not you're taking care of your family or doing what you're supposed to be doing as a partner, as a father. None of these things that people used to try to make me feel bad about, and thank God I didn't take the bait. None of these things that people tried to make me feel bad about has had any effect on how I raise my daughter. I don't understand why this just went out. Oh my God. We got kind of a tight setup here, so just give me a second. Okay. None of these things has had any effect on the type of partner that I am, the things that I teach my daughter, the way that I handle myself in corporate, quote unquote, corporate America. None of these things have kept me from getting certain types of jobs. None of these things have messed with the trajectory of who I'm supposed to be as a man. None of these things, the tone of my voice, how similar I am to hip hop America. Let's just say, like, black people with swag, the black community has ever had a trajectory on anything in my life. You know what has had a trajectory on my life? How I felt about myself, regardless of what anybody says. What my mindset is, how I've put it in my mind, how I've always said in my head, I'm not gonna have a child in a situation where me and the child's mother are on bad terms. I'm not just going to be sleeping with anybody because I don't want a kid with just anybody. I don't want to have a relationship, a simp type of relationship with a modern woman, with a woman that's been raised to look at men as objects, to look at men as just resources and beings that don't need to be poured into. I'm not gonna believe that because it's not true. And the thing that's sad about us with this, with the systematic oppression that made us victims, the quote unquote systematic oppression that we fed into in this culture of street life that has deteriorated the community so bad that we have become comfortable with the abnormal. We have looked at, oh, I come from a long life of single parents, so me being a single parent isn't a problem, and we don't even want to do the inner work to fix these things. We can make excuses like, hey, everybody has a child with a person that they didn't want to have a child with, so it's normal, even though your child is going to be affected if they're not living in a house with the man in the house. Your child is going to be affected if they don't see you and the person that you chose to lay down with to procreate, because like I always like to say, sex is for procreation. I know that we do it to serve ourselves, but the first reason that that mating exists is to bring life into the world. So we shouldn't be surprised when life is brought into the world, especially when we're not procreating responsibly. But these things, living for self, has been so normalized because we have this victim mindset that we've normalized so many other things that are so detrimental to children, so detrimental to the family structure. Hey, get away from my cords. That we're already 5 steps behind. We put ourselves behind. No matter if this country, I don't care about the presidential debate. I don't care about this, that, rap music doing this, that, and the third. We have let these things become monsters. We have let rap music raise our children. We have let our children become subjects of whatever the government wants to put on us because we don't value things like parenting and teaching values and putting people and preparing your children to be upstanding citizens and not spoiled brats, not someone that thinks the whole world revolves around them, which is why we have so many grown adults. And I know I'm all over the place, but let's make sure that we're on track. So I'm realizing that people that made fun of me, they needed me to care what they had to say. They needed me to feel a type of way about how they felt about how I carried myself. And that's exactly why I refuse to ever care about opinions that people would say to me to try to make me feel less than, because who cares about what you have to say about me? Who cares about if you think I'm not cool enough to be black, if you think I'm not black because I'm not a gangster, if you think a real man is somebody that is just out here just trying to prove his bravado, his masculinity by having some type of bravado. And most of it's a facade. Most of it is an act to just be accepted. Forget being accepted, bro, because y'all don't even accept yourselves. And I saw that at a minute I just couldn't do it, bro. I couldn't be another person like that because, like I said, bro, I didn't just want to normalize all the abnormalities and shortcomings that we've created for ourselves. So I never listened to anyone just because they were quote unquote considered cool, just because they were quote unquote older than me and therefore an elder. That doesn't make you anything. And I never chose to hate myself because I always noticed that other people wanted me to hate myself because deep down they hated themselves. I didn't grow. I don't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really understand the self-hate aspect of Black America, because if we're who we say we are, if we're the chosen people, no matter what we've gone through, you should always have a love for yourself and other Black people. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was supposed to say this at the beginning of the live stream, but nigga, the N word, none of my elders, like grandparents, great aunts, and uncles, I've never heard any of them use that term as a term of endearment. They use the term for someone that is ignorant, who lacks knowledge, and has no desire to gain any knowledge or uplift themselves. So when I'm looking at the responses to this tweet, I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, are my elders just some Martians, or am I blessed to have elders that actually hold on to certain values and are not lying to their children? Because a lot of people seem like when you have these kinds of discourse, they always write you off of someone who hates Black people. But love is wanting people to do better. Love is holding you accountable so you can be the best person. Love is not coddling a person's feelings and saying everything is okay because you don't want people to feel bad about themselves, people who don't want to improve. That's not love. That's actually hate. It's actually indifference. And being that you want people to be indifferent and have this self-hate because you just want to do whatever because you can't do anything, I don't stand for that. So a Negro doesn't have to be a street guy, and a Black person doesn't have to be a regular law-abiding citizen. How I was raised was, if you're in an area where there's not a lot of Black people, even if you are in an area where there's Black people, if you see a Black person and y'all make eye contact, you speak to them. Especially if you're in an area where there's not that many people. Well, obviously, a lot of people were not raised like that, because I can tell you, I'd probably say the ratio of people that actually speak back, or even that maybe just smile, is probably 1 out of 10. And it'd be blowing me, because most times the people be looking at me. I'm not looking at you like you looking at me. So I might smile. I might say hello, because I'm really wondering why you looking at me. I remember at my new job, I seen this young security guard, tall gentleman, definitely younger, probably like 19, 20. He's staring in my eyes. So I just give him a head nod. And like he like rolled his eyes, and it was just his eye, like I can see it in his eyes. It just filled with like some type of contempt or jealousy. And I'm thinking in my head, fam, I'm at least 9 years older than you, bro. You shouldn't be mad that you're working at security and I'm the person that you quote unquote not like securing, but I'm one of the people that work in the building that you securing. You shouldn't be mad. You need to get your bones, brother. Get your bones. Get you some experience, like I did. Some experience that got me this job. I didn't just get this job. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't think dude worked there no more. I haven't seen him. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I was just like, dang, man, like, and that's another reason why I don't live in Black communities, because in Pittsburgh, to be exact, it seems like there's just this just reserved aggression for other Black men that Black men have for you, and you don't even have to do anything. I don't understand that, because, brother, I got things to do. I got me a family. So I don't have time to go back and forth with you for nothing. But it seems like so many Black men, that's just their disposition. I done seen women looking at me, and now once I look at you, you roll your eyes. I'm confused. If you don't want to have no interaction with me, why are you looking at me? Like, why are you mad that I'm speaking to you? You looking at me? I just don't get the self-hate. You might look at me talking and say, oh, he must think he's this. Why he think he better than everybody? I don't think I'm better than everybody. I don't think I know everything. I do not think that I'm the answer like some messiah type guy. Actually, the reason for this podcast is to have conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's just for people to think. It's just for people to look at things from a different perspective and not have this lame ass, brain dead ass group think of values that are just deteriorating our community, pushing people to hate children because they think that their life is just supposed to be a freaking merry-go-round fair like experience and everything is supposed to go the way that they want it to, even though what you want is so baseless and has nothing to do with what's the best for you. To hell with that. To hell with that. I just want you to think. You know what I'm saying? Now, bro, growing a podcast and growing a following, it's going to be a lot of talking to yourself. It's going to be a lot of you just putting yourself out there and hopefully people catching on. So until we get the following of, people that are willing to have a conversation, I'm going to be the only one talking. But fam, like, this is the internet, bro. I'm not no freaking scholar. I do not have a degree. I don't have the credentials to think that I know everything. But I will tell you this, that I'm a good father and I'm a good partner. I'm a good mate. I can't say I'm a good son, but we ain't gonna get into all of that. But I ain't really got the space to be, but shoot, bruh. But the point that I want to get to with, and I'll say it again, a nigga don't gotta be no street dude, and a black person don't have to be a regular working person. Let's get into that, bro. The fact that people feel that they can look down on another black man because maybe he has a different life path, maybe he was brought up differently, maybe he don't know what he should, and you think that your stuff don't stink just because you was born in a certain area, you was raised in a certain area. That's some nigga thinking. Even if you do everything right, even if you do what you're supposed to do, if you are looking down on people, not giving them a chance to do anything and just placing a label on them because of their background, maybe because they're not tough enough or they're too tough, you a nigga. You a nigga. Because if you a black man, and I'm speaking from a black man's perspective because I'm not a woman. There's women out there that can speak from a black woman's perspective. They could do that. I'm going to do what I can speak on. You know what I'm saying? If you're a black man, you shouldn't be looking down on anybody. You should really have some sort of empathy, especially for your fellow black man, because you know how hard it is, whether you in the streets or you trying to work a regular job, bro. Some of y'all who think you're better than men that are in the hood, you couldn't last 5 seconds in that man's shoes that you think you're better than. And vice versa. Some of you guys that are brought up in the hood and you are in the street life, you couldn't last 5 seconds in my shoes because you're not emotionally capable of dealing with the things that I've dealt with and overcome daily. The thing is, I've lived over in the suburbs. We've lived in this area. Well, at least from 6 months of me moving back, because I lived in an area with my dad, and then me and my girl moved in together. But nothing's ever happened to me over here. Yeah, people will say smart stuff. People be staring at you, but apart from a little altercation, and not really an altercation, just a white person that works with the Port Authority abusing whatever little power he had. Nobody's ever tried me. I've never been pulled over here. You know why? You can't play with me like that. I'm not out here, even though I used to smoke heavily. I'm not out here out of my mind. Even if I am out here a little bit skied up, I'm not out here driving. My girl driving. I don't play games to where I'm gonna be fooled. And Fam, I'm not about to just go back and forth with you and jaw jack with you because you want to act a certain way. If you want to play around and, try to make me feel like you want me to really feel that you don't feel that I belong and you don't want me around. If you don't want me in your store, I ain't gonna come in your store. If you can't be professional and treat me like the paying citizen or the paying but I don't know what the word is, the paying customer that I am, you're not about to get my business because I thought money would bring. It's been a lot of times, but I done shook some stuff up because I use the resources that I have. You know what? Let me tell that story because I just want to give you guys an example. Um, I take the bus. I take the bus, and not because we don't got no vehicle, but because I got a daughter, and I would rather I would rather my girl and my daughter be able to say they out somewhere, be able to get somewhere quicker, say they gotta leave at a minute's type notice, them do that to me because I've been on the bus my whole life and I can handle myself. I'm a big boy. You feel me? We don't and I don't take the bus. I take the trolley because we live in the area where the trolley comes. I wouldn't ride the bus. I don't live in the city because I don't like how they don't be shoveling up all the snow and getting all the ice off of the sidewalk in the winter. So I ain't trying to break my neck. I'm on the trolley where the walkways is clear I live in the neighborhood where the walkways is clear when it's snowing outside. Them salt trucks is out there 5 a.m. That's where I want to live. And I don't care how people feel about it. But I still work in the city, but I was working another job. And something was going on with the bus passes where the system that like reads, say you got a monthly or weekly, this, that, and the third, it wasn't reading it because there was some new type of they call them connect cards, which is a card that you just scan. So for some reason, the people that live out here, they just put money on their cards because I guess they don't care, even though you save more money, getting a monthly, a weekly, a half a monthly, a yearly. So I'm saving my money. So my card isn't working, and of course, nobody else has a pass. They just put money on their card because I guess they got it to blow. So we were told, because I like to keep up with the Port Authority stuff that's going on with the public transportation, just so I can know what's going on. Maybe I need to leave earlier. Maybe I need to go to another stop. So we were told when they made this announcement that all of the Port Authority employees are aware of this. Well, I guess my boy, because people do this in this city, they will forego professionalism to let you know that you are not welcome and we don't really want you here. So my bus thing ain't working because there's a known issue going on that was gonna be going on for at least a week. So my boy, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, keeping up he's acting like he don't know what's going on. So he basically telling me 2 days in a row, like, you can't get on the bus because your stuff not working. Both days that I did this, I was able to catch the next train that came because it's a known issue. Well, he's being a DICK. So long story short, he kicked me off the train twice. And then I call up there the second day he kicked me off. He closed the door on me. I'm why you done closed the door on me? And I know he closed the door on me, the train doors, because the way that these doors open and close, the way that everybody does it, I'm guessing they're trained to do this. You hear a brrr, like they give you the time to get in and out of the train thing, of the door, get in and out of the train because they don't want to close the door on you. Well, as I'm walking out of the train, as he wrongfully kicked me off of the bus, he closes the door on me. So at that point, it's up because you're not doing your job. You're being prejudiced. You're being unprofessional. I'm about to call these people and let them know I'm going to cause a scene tomorrow because you didn't make me late for work, but there's a chance you could have made me late. And you don't know what I want to do for work just because I'm responsible and I catch the the early teas, just so if anything is going on in the city, I can still get to work on time. That don't mean that don't mean you get to be unprofessional. You know what I'm saying? So I posted on the internet. I added the Port Authority, mind you. They're not the Port Authority anymore. I don't know what happened, but they done changed their name. I posted on the internet just to let people know, hey, because I don't know how the Port Authority police act. I've never had an interaction with the police up here. I don't know if they gonna whoop me. I don't know if they gonna bow. But hey, if it does happen, I'm gonna document this, that this is what's going on. And if I get arrested, if I gotta miss work, oh, y'all gonna be at fault. So nobody actually at me on the internet. I get no engagement because I posted this on all of my social medias. I get no engagement on these posts. But you know what I did get? I got a call from the Port Authority, and mine actually, I'm not I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but I was on the bus when they called me. So I might have made these posts like the day that he closed the door on me, because I already know, like I'm already, bruh. This this is what happened. I decided not to the third day. I decided to purposely not get. I decided to catch another train because I knew what time this a-hole was riding the train. I didn't want to go through it, but I had already made the post. So somebody calls me and they trying to, oh, we're sorry, so he didn't know, and this. I cut him off. And I'm like, there's no way that he didn't know, because everybody else I've dealt with has known what is going on. I've had no problems with coming back from work with the people that are on the T on that time. I've had no problems on the bus, nothing. He's being prejudiced and he's not doing his job. You need to get right, because tomorrow morning I'm catching the T at the time that I usually catch it. And if he wants to play with me, we're all going to be late for work, because I'm going to cause a scene, because there's no reason that he should not know what he needs to know for his job. Well, that morning, he tries to still gaslight me and talk to me like he's my father or something. Oh, I didn't know, and you didn't say this, and it's all my fault that you don't know what you need to know for your job. I told him, bro, I don't care what you talking about. Can I go sit down? You know what I'm saying? And nothing happened because he was dead wrong. He was dead wrong. And these are just things that you have to deal with. And I don't really understand the point that I made in that story, but nobody, like, the idea that there are black people that they believe the white man's ice is colder. They would rather hang around white people than black people. But if you're really a genuine black person, like if you're black, you understand what's going on. If you've hung around white people, if you've been in situations where people that seem to be your friend, they'll bring you around people that are prejudiced, or people that just don't like black people, period, or they just have certain mindsets towards black people. And if something happens, you always find them trying to, quote unquote, make you accept second class treatment, make you accept being treated like crap, even though you're just a paying customer like everybody else. And I'm not with that at all. You know why people can't mess with me? You know why people can't, bro? You can't really do much with me, because I know how to talk. I'm not out here drunk. I'm not out here on drugs. I don't do hard drugs. You feel me? I don't do none of that, because I already know what happens when you're out here off your rocker and not on point, because it's people that don't want you around, and it's people that think that just because you have this type of skin complexion that you shouldn't be allowed to live in these safe communities, as if you're causing a ruckus. We ain't never had the police called on us. I ain't never put my hands on my girl. I ain't never been arguing with my girl out in public acting a fool. We got a toddler. Toddler's gonna do what toddlers do, and I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You're not about to make me feel bad that my child is a child. You feel me? My child can express herself. My child is not afraid of her parents. She's a 2-year-old. She's a girl. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. She go to a school with a lot of brats, and I ain't gonna lie to you, she's a brat too. That's how these kids act out here, bro. You're not about to make me feel any less of a parent because that's how my kid act. You know what I'm saying? She listened to me, but sometimes her mama, you feel me? She be trying her. That just be what it is. But bro, you're not better than me. You're not more of a better father than I am. You're not a better anything than I am because of your race or skin color. It really don't even matter. But the thing is, so many people, they have such a old mindset that they've already put themselves behind the 8 ball because they think they just are better than somebody because of what their race is or where they was born at. You know what I'm saying? But fam, we bro, white and black people, it seemed like statistically speaking, we the most financially uneducated and financially unsuccessful people in this country because we've been played. Because we think these politicians is God. We think race is a thing. We think we are really being oppressed out here when 9 times out of 10, bro, your biggest oppressor is yourself. Your biggest your biggest, whatever you want to call it, your biggest supremacist is you. Because think about it, bro. If I, coming from dealing with things that I've dealt with family wise, dealing with 2 parents that, in my estimation, at 29 years old, just based on how they've carried themselves, how they've treated me, they don't really care too much about me. They really they done had me because they thought I was going to be a come up. They thought that the manipulation that they had put me through, the way that they thought that they were training my mind, would have me thinking less of myself, thinking that I owed them something because they decided to procreate and have and sleep with somebody. And that's not my goal. That's not my calling in life. My calling in life is to do what I need to do. You feel me? My calling in life is to take care of my family. You know what I'm saying? My family. And honestly, bro, I've talked about it, you know what I'm saying? And I try not to, and I really hope this is all making sense, but I hope it's all tying together. I try not to really, I've been trying not to, for the past couple of months, not to come at family a certain way on social media, but it came to a time for the last 7 years of living up here, you know, moving from Florida. When I was leaving, it seemed like people were upset that I was taking my life into my own hands and making the move that I wanted to, so that I could make sure that I had as little distractions as possible to be successful in life. And you know, with that, you know, there's some Negroes in my family, and with Negroes, they don't care about the truth. They only care about what they can make. Like, they only care about spreading lies to whoever is with making these lies the truth. And that's a problem that all of society has. And I'm sure a lot of people will look at this and be like, oh, white people do this, white people do that. Yeah, but like that head start that they have in front of y'all, like that y'all like to talk about, they can kind of, some of them can still do that and be something in life. But with the history that we have and the 8 ball that we put ourselves behind in the last 50 years, we don't have that luxury. So carrying on, you know, the single parenthood, the being in a situationship rather than being in a faithful monogamous relationship, it's gonna fare way worse for us with us not trying to elevate our minds. But I became the villain in a lot of people's eyes I don't know necessarily on my dad's side of the family, but definitely on my mom's side of the family, just because I decided to focus on myself and focus on my life. There's people that try to get me in certain sticky situations that they know that I have no business being in these situations, because they went through previous situations and I overcame these situations. And with me overcoming these situations, me doing something like this again would be almost career unaliving for a person that wants to work a job. And yet, because this person was so in a I can't do anything mindset, and they've been coddled their whole life, so they really think that it's people's jobs to acquiesce to whatever they want to do. Since I didn't want to sacrifice my freedom and my family, as my girlfriend was pregnant during the time that many people in my family tried to pull me into something, they decided to just build up a lie brigade to make me and really look like the person that they are. Oh, Michael's hateful. Michael, he's holding grudges. But this is the thing, bro. If I was hateful and holding grudges, I would always have something bad to say about people. But that wasn't the thing. I ignored people for so long, but there were so many people that had on the low grievances with me and created issues with me, basically because I didn't make decisions that appeased them with my life. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, there was an elder in my family that was very integral in leading this narrative of me being the villain in the family, because they felt a way about me moving up to Pittsburgh. And the reason I know that they felt a way about me moving up to Pittsburgh, and everybody likes to, this person, they be lying all the time, and they try to act like just because they know Bible scriptures that they do no wrong. I knew this because the first time I told this person back in 2016, when I started preparing and really visualizing moving up to Pittsburgh, the first time I told them, they said, fine, we don't want you up here anyway. We don't want you down here anyway. And I'm just thinking, dang, so you really think that I have some type of obligation to you? Because this person, they wanted me to be a preacher. And once I was in Bible school for a couple semesters and I was doing good, but I wasn't living on my own. I was staying with somebody. I had to work. I was going to college and working a part-time job. And it was my mindset, and maybe it was some ignorance on my part, that I need to stand on my own too. So I don't really have time to be in Bible school, doing things that don't align with Bible school. And I don't really want to disrespect the organization because I was going for free. I had a scholarship. So I decided to bow out, because it's like, fam, I need time. You feel me? I need money, because I know that the situation of living with family members is going to come to an end. So I need to start working full time. So boom, long story short. And, people are, they're with this mindset, this Negro mindset that, young men are just supposed to freaking carry the whole family, and they should be putting family and whatever their wants are, not needs, wants, and their inability to, show up for themselves. You gotta be some Superman or some goofy stuff. With me not doing that, with me coming up here, moving with my girl, moving into our own place, moving into with a person that's known me for almost 20 years, knows me way better than y'all do, cares about me way better than y'all do, would never put me in a position to choose doing what's best for me or helping people that don't want to help themselves. People came up with lies about me. People slandered me, and they made me look like I was just the bad guy. And the only reason that there was credence to the story was because everybody that was pushing the narrative had some underlying problem with me, which really wasn't a problem with me because I ain't never done nothing to these people. I've never hurt these people the way that they tried to hurt me. And I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I had to kind of get into the mud because it's like, it's so many people saying, oh, this, that, and the third, you hateful, you holding grudges. And I'm thinking in my head, it got to a point where it's like, oh my God. It's not that you think I'm hateful. It's not that you think I'm holding grudges. That is actually how you feel about me. You hate me. You're holding on to a grudge of, I was supposed to be your daddy in some type of way, even though I didn't have kids at the time. And I had some type of obligation to coddle you and enable you as other family members had. And I guess it was just supposed to be my turn to coddle people. And once I made the stand that I wasn't going to, you had to make me look like I was some type of villain or some type of wrong was being done to you, because if not, it was gonna come out that you actually feel a way about me. So I was using social media. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I would talk about these things on the podcast, and people would probably think, yo, are you probably just airing out family business? You probably just, you know what I'm saying? You don't know how to handle things. I was using it to my advantage because I am aware that the most consistent people that listen to the podcast, audio, video, are people that live in states where I've been at, where there's family at. So 9 times out of 10, it's a lot of people that I know that watch this. It's a lot of people that know my family that watch this. So I'm using it to my advantage. I'm just telling the truth. Because one thing about Negroes is that they live in the land of groupthink. They live in the land of, I feel like. So if you're not really going back and forth and really saying your side of the story, if a lot of people feel like you should have did this, or you feel like you should have helped me do this, or you feel like I should have enabled you and still let you eat off of the fact that I work a full-time job and I'm always going to have some type of income, so you can try to finesse me into into being your roommate and this, that, and the third. If I don't do it and I don't respond, you can make what you feel like I should have done what I should have done in the world of Negroes and their feelings. Well, the thing that I always realize is that a lot of people they will stay in that world of, I feel like you should have did this, I feel like this, I feel like that. But once you actually start telling the truth, once you start telling the truth to the right people, these people will have nothing to say. So I was just working on them. I'm slowly but surely just putting things out there like, fam, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't shit. And the fact that you ain't shit is not my fault. That's your decision. You've done this, and that. All of the things you've said about me are untrue, but look what you have actually done. All of the people that were walking around saying Michael ain't did this, Michael ain't did that, have actually done deplorable things in this last 7 years that I haven't been living down south. They've actually done deplorable things to children, deplorable things to their partner. They put people in deplorable situations because they feel like people have an obligation to coddle them. A lot of the people that said disparaging things about me, that led the wave of Michael's a bad person because he didn't do this for me, have treated me in ways that could have put me in a very bad situation if I let them. The problem is I didn't, because I would rather be the villain and do what's best for my family than have you thinking that I'm quote unquote for the family because I'm enabling you like other people in the family have done. Now, do I wish that my daughter could have her grandparents in her life besides instead of just one of them? Yeah. Do I wish that I could live near family so my daughter could grow up around people that I trust? Yes. But guess what? I don't trust a lot of my family. I don't like the energy that certain grandparents hold because they are not willing to do the work on themselves to where they don't harbor all of this negative energy because they're frustrated with their life because they deep down know that they could have done way more in life, and it's to a point where you're at a certain age to where you're reaping all of the consequences of not putting yourself in position in life. It's not my responsibility, and I won't let you degrade me or my family because that's how you feel about yourself. I don't want that energy around us. I gave my parents chances to mend relationships. I gave them chances to be around us, but you wanted to take advantage of us. You wanted to talk to my girlfriend or have people that you know are close to you try to come at my girl a certain way, and I made sure situations didn't escalate because not my girl is from the hood. You know what I'm saying? She might fall off in another woman's shit if she feel disrespected, and I'm not gonna be mad at her for it. So you know what? You dead wrong. You not about you go, but you about to act like the situation isn't what the situation is. You think just because you done made these choices that people supposed to do this and this to cater to you, even though you you just want everything to work in your favor. You can't play with me like that. I ain't stupid like that. I'm clear mind. So we just going dead it because if she do fall off in the person's shit that think stuff is sweet and think that you coming at her because you feel like she done took me away from y'all or whatever. Come on, man. You know that's not true. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna prove to y'all that you have no power over any of us by all y'all numbers is blocked. You can't come to the house. We don't fuck with you like that. And it just was what it was, bro, because we're I don't even think we have a black community, but it's just in my perspective that niggas they live so wrong, and it's by choice. It's by not wanting to do the things that's hard. It's by wanting to be accepted by other people that don't even accept themselves. And it's become so bad that nobody really know themselves. Everybody just looking at everybody else for validation when there is no validation because we all are broken. And a lot of us, instead of saying I'm broken, I want to fix things or I want to do better, and you know, waking up every day wanting to be 1% better, we like to make the people that want to change be the people that are judging people, be the people that think that they, instead of people wanting to, you know, you holding you to a higher standard, you want to say that they think that they better than you. I don't think that I'm better than nobody, but I'm not about to just be out here being a womanizer just because it's going to make another dude feel good about how he carried himself and how he has poor dick management and how he has a poor choice in the women that he chooses to lay down with and how he's chosen to lay down with women that don't care about him, and now y'all got a kid and now you being put through the ringer. You can't even have a regular life because the person you've laid down with is a person that likes to operate in chaos, bro. That's not cool, bro. It's not cool. Y'all don't understand. You don't understand how important it is to wake up and your child to have a strong male figure in the household. Your child to see you and your girl, you and their father and their mother kiss each other, love on each other, not like being nasty or nothing like that, but treat each other with love. You don't know how important that is. And we've we've watered down relationships so bad, not because relationships aren't beneficial, not because two parent households statistically are going to do better financially than one parent households, statistically are going to produce more model citizens than one parent households, but because we don't want to look at what we've done wrong, what we dropped the ball on, because if we look at what we dropped the ball on, we got to look at these people that we let emotionally manipulate us, that we let be not shit because we think it's our job to save them or our job to be Superman and save everybody when it should be a collective effort. You don't want to let people down. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. So you rather stay in this state of everything that's wrong is right and hold this street code, even though nobody in the streets have a code. Man, no, bro. You can't shame me into second guessing trying to be the best person that I want to be. Don't look at this. Let me take my glasses off. Don't look at me saying these things like I'm judging people, like I think I'm better than people. No, I just want to be better. I just want my daughter to have what she needs to have. I want my daughter to be at least able to hold down a job and be professional once she is out of my household. Not even out of my household. She ain't going nowhere until she get married. But she needs to be qualified to work at somebody's job while in school or whatever she's doing. Say she want to start a business by 18. She needs to be qualified to do whatever she wants to do by the time she becomes an adult. And if that means we stand, because we do want to move, because I don't know, Pittsburgh is our type of culture, because there's a lot of miserable people out here. But if that means us finding family that's not necessarily related to us because they're on the same path that we're on, that's what it means. If that means me making other people feel uncomfortable because they don't want to do better, they just want you to be okay with wherever they're at in life, accept me for who I am, I'm cool with that. It's not going to bother me because every day I get better. Every day the inches is coming off, pounds is coming off because I'm making an effort to get healthier, bro. If you don't want to make an effort to get healthier, if you don't want to be the best person you want to be because your child's life depends on it, the black community depends on it, the small bit of a family structure we have depends on it. If you just want to taint the structure and make people slaves to people just because they're related to them and make people shut up because you don't care to be better, you just want to be okay with being mediocre, you do that. But don't judge me. Don't try to make it look like I don't love the person that I'm in. Like I have self-hate because I want to be better and I want to hold myself and the people around me accountable, because the only way to succeed is with being accountable. And I'm talking about succeeding in all aspects in life. If you just want to get money, you can be a piece of crap and go and get some money, but that ain't the money I want. They make the checks I want written to me. I want work. I want checks that I still have my soul with. I still can look my child in the face when she really finds out, oh, this is what you do for work. This is how everything works. I don't want to have to gaslight my way into, oh, I did what I could to raise you, bro. I just don't want to be that person. I want to look back at life and be like, I did what I could. And I did what I could for the black community by having a good family, raising a good child that did the same thing that I did. And I didn't just repeat the cycle of brokenness of the family structure, of disrespecting women, of trying to put other men down because we don't have the same upbringing and somehow I'm better than them because we don't have the same upbringing. That's goofy, man. It's goofy. We need to love each other out here. We need to be accountable for ourselves out here, bro. And if you don't want to be accountable, say you don't want to do the work to be better. Say that you want to be a nigga. You cool with being a nigga. But don't get mad at black people when they want to be better and they want to do as best as they can despite their upbringing, despite whatever obstacles they had to come in life. and they want to actually be true to themselves and actually be their best advocate and not their biggest oppressor, because that's what we have in this community now. Nobody oppresses us more than us, the person that we look at in the mirror. Nobody hates us more than the person that we look at in the mirror. You don't have to worry about any racist more than you have to worry about another black man, because it's so much self-hate, even with women. So much self-hate. It's so much insecurity that is masqueraded as toughness, masqueraded as just group think BS, and you think just because everybody else feel the same way you feel, you okay. We out here broken. So if you have a majority mindset, you're the problem. Everybody will say, well, what are you doing for the community? As if everybody has the ability to be Superman and be Martin Luther King. And the first thing you need to do, the first thing we need to focus on is making sure these kids is right, because it's better to raise good, or better to bring up good children and put them in position than try to repair broken men. And if you out here, you got a child, and you out here, you have a seed walking around here, you should be the best person you want to be, so they can be the best person they can be, so they can have the chance, so they don't have to walk around crying about how they wasn't set up the right way. Let's change these things. And if you don't want to change them, say that. Say that. If you don't want to do what you need to do, you don't want to handle, you don't want to work out the way you need to make sure your mental health is right. You don't want to, if you want to make sure you don't consume all this stuff that's being marketed to us so our brains ain't freaking shriveling, do that, bro. But don't try to make it seem like somebody that wants to do better, somebody that actually does their part because they actually doing right by the people that depend on him, is some type of wrong for wanting to be better, bro. That's some bitch shit, bro. And we have to get out of that bitch mentality, bro. A lot of people, like, it's a sucker mentality. And a lot of people, they think just because everybody agreed with them, it can be, they can have their own definition of what, you know, self-hate is and what the black community, bro. We don't have no fucking community. Everybody tries to screw everybody else over to get some money and some little reward, and then you realize that, oh, I ain't shit, but everybody else ain't shit either, so let's change it. Let's just change what the words mean. Fuck that, man. Fuck that. One more thing before I get out of here, because I did say some things at the end of the last live stream, and I got to give a different perspective on things, because I know it's not the most popular, but bro, I'm not a liar. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one to lead people astray, and I speak from my experience because I feel like I can give the most information on things that I've experienced. And this is a thing that I like to approach. I like to approach hard topics and topics that make people uncomfortable, because doing the uncomfortable is going to get you the most comfortable in life. So I have to be truthful with y'all. I was the last 5 minutes of the live stream, I was basically responding to certain social media guys that have threw shots at me. But to be honest with you, those shots, from a business perspective, they've been warranted. Why have these shots been warranted from YouTubers that have a lot of subscribers, or YouTubers that have a little bit more motion than me? Why? Because I've been doing what I'm not supposed to be doing. In terms of, I know how YouTubers are. I know how they react to YouTubers that may not be as big as them, may be charismatic as well. They see it as a threat. I've made myself visible, and I'll go with three instances where I made myself visible on other people's channels, being a fan, participating in the chat, you know what I'm saying? Not to get shine or to try to take a person's audience, but it's just like the chat be funny. The chat be cool. I'm funny. I like the jokes. So I'm in the person chat on this account, you know what I'm saying? On the YouTube account with the 5K subscribers, even though it's not a lot, you can tell you a YouTuber. And The reason why I can't be mad at shots thrown is because the first time this happened to me, it was within my first year of being a YouTuber. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Something told me, yo, you shouldn't make yourself known to like that to people on YouTube and other people's chats because these niggas is sensitive. These niggas it's competition. They look at you as competition. So even though you're not doing BS, it's gonna come off as that either because that's the way they see it, or that's just the angle they're gonna take it because they know that they have diehard fans, and if they put it that way, people are gonna repeat it, and it's not, what I'm saying, you're gonna be looked at as the bad guy. And one thing that I need to do as a content creator is just do my shit. Just do my shit. If I do want to comment on somebody's shit, do it under a fake page, because it's no reason in making enemies when that's not really the content that I want to do. It's no reason in giving somebody the rope to say that I took their style, I did this, that, and the third, when I can just be myself, and if I'm consistent, I can gain a following my own. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be on the comment, but I'm not sure if I made people mad or I just, what I'm saying, they just wanted to throw shots at me to try to throw me off. But if I have made people mad, that's not going to help with the progression of the channel. That's not going to help with me building relationships to something that is organic. So what I'm basically trying to say is, fam, when people throw shots at you, and it's because you've made yourself visible and you've lightweight threatened them, being like, oh, it's like, people are going to take that as you coming for them, or you coming for their audience. You shouldn't do that, and you shouldn't feel a way that somebody's throwing shots at you, no matter what they say, because that's my problem. Like, I have a problem with people thinking that their words are going to make me do something or feel a way about myself. But I don't, like, in this space, in this business, bro, that's just what people are gonna do, especially if you put yourself in that position. So it's best not to put yourself in a position where you got a content creator in their feelings because you on their page making people laugh and, familiarizing themselves with your content because you're doing too much. Don't do too much. And that's something that's one thing that I want to get better at. It's just focusing on the work when it comes to this content stuff, because, bro, people can help you, but I would rather somebody just let me know, hey, I want to help you, than I'm out here reaching out like, hey, help. Fam, it ain't it. Especially if you believe that you built for this, which I believe that I am. Just do your shit, man. Do your shit. And whatever is genuine as far as connections and relationships will come. You don't really want to meet your idols, because you're going to see that there's a lot of niggas that act. It's a lot of, and not in the terms of, the subject, not calling everybody, Negroes, but it's just, you'll realize that a lot of people are just great actors. They are good advertisers, and it's not many people that this is just who they are and they just happen to be charismatic. And it's not a shot, that's just, the game is the game. You're going to find that in any line of business, and it is what it is. You just have to let your works and your talent speak for you, because you don't want to come up off of somebody, because that's always going to be the thing. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm focusing on, is staying in my lane and just working. You feel me? Staying out of people's comments, staying from making jokes, and because, bro, just being charismatic, it's infectious, and you don't threatening insecure people. It can be dangerous, especially when they have a following. So I hope this live made sense. I hope you got what I was putting down. I'll talk to y'all next Saturday. Y'all stay up, whatever you are going through, bruh. Just keep getting up, man. Keep waking up. Keep attacking the day. Keep doing what's best for you and yours. and you'll put yourself in a better situation. Don't be a victim. Don't be blaming this, that, and the third. Make sure you do everything you need to do for yourself, for the best, for whatever that's best for you at the moment. And that's only going to be with being honest with yourself, and you'll be straight. I'll see y'all.